Life is no fun when you don't feel well, and no one better than someone who has been through it herself. Let's meet Sharon with Collective Wellness. How are you?
Hi, Danny. I'm great. Thanks so much for your time.
Of course. I'm always interested to find out more, especially love when a business is born because of something you discovered on your own journey. Tell everyone a little bit about how you got to where you are now and what led you to find, an alternative lifestyle to help keep yourself healthy.
Unfortunately, I find that my story is more common than it is the exception. I started experiencing nebulous health issues. Being a mother of four and working full time and living an active lifestyle on top of all of that, I used to lift weights and my strength started going down, down, down. And when that happened, then I started thinking, all right, something is just not right. I think I went to, my general practitioner first, probably, and we did the blood work. And every doctor I see is the tests are coming back normal. And they're
Yeah.
all within normal limits, those kinds of things. And I knew something was not okay. And fast forward, I had gone to see my orthopedic, who probably was tired of seeing me because I kept having all these joint issues. And he asked me if I had seen a rheumatologist. I said no. And so I went to a rheumatologist who gave me the diagnosis of psoriatic arthritis. Not the end of the world, right? It's one of those diseases that fortunately I'll die with it, not from it.
Mm.
The medical world, and I'm going to tread lightly here, is prescriptions and procedures.
Right.
You have a lot of things, but specifically, speaking to my situation. And I've watched what happens with those procedures and those prescriptions, and it's not good, and it's most definitely not without serious and significant side effects. And I
Right.
wasn't going to go down that road unless it was life saving. I started looking into everything autoimmune related with nutrition, sleep, movement, anything, supplements. And I did find some good doctors along the way that were able to help me and made friends and joined groups and did all the things that I could to help me help myself. Sadly, that's really the root and with anything chronic. You have to
Yeah.
go. You have to look at yourself.
We are in an age now where information is so available where you can find groups of people who actually suffer from the same things, so you can kind of compare what has worked, what hasn't worked. You have to be your own advocate because you knew something was wrong, and listening to that, even when people were telling you it's normal, it's normal, it's normal, you're like, it's not normal. And
Right.
so you
Right.
have to keep pushing because I think, especially like when I was a kid, like doctors were like the be all, right?
A
You
hundred
listened
percent.
to them, you followed them no matter what they said. And now, as I've aged, you realize they're just people. And
Yeah.
if they don't know, they just don't know. It's not, there's nothing wrong with it. They're very, very smart people.
Yes.
They obviously have studied long and hard, but you know your body best. And I think
Right.
it's great you listened.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that problem, though, is the way our system, our healthcare system is set up, doctors have to stay in their lane. So if
Mm.
you go in,
Yeah.
and if I go in and I say my shoulder hurts, the orthopedic or whoever, whatever doctor I see is going to look at my shoulder. Well, that pain from my shoulder, especially let me go to my left shoulder, that could be my heart, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's one that's pretty common, and I think and women in general, once you hit probably even just 40, hormones start shifting in a lot of women, and the changes are nebulous. And
Mm.
I call it I liken it to the boiling frog syndrome, right? You can't
Yeah.
throw a frog into the pot of boiling water, but if you turn it on slow. And
Yeah.
that's what I think happens for a lot of women, at least the ones that I have had the privilege of speaking with.
And I would agree with that. Look, it's not like you've fallen and you break a bone, right, where it
Right.
happens, but you start dealing with the pain and the rest of your body actually compensates for a lot of it until it gets to a point at which it's so bad you're like, okay, this is ridiculous, it's not going away, or whatever
Yes.
that is. And that's really, really interesting because I think we all do it, right? We
Yep.
all kind of compensate and think, oh, it's not so bad until it's so bad.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly. And I think, like I said, my story's not unique. I speak to women every single day that have gone through something similar.
Yeah. You were working with your husband in his IT business. How did this shift happen for you?
Well, I can go back to when I was very young. My interest in healthcare has always been there. When I was very young, I went to Montgomery College, took pre-nursing courses, and then I never finished.
Mm.
Decided, getting married and having kids is what I wanted at the time. I was an EMT also, and so I put everything that I wanted on the back burner, what I wanted career wise, because I
Yeah.
have these kids, and I have kids, and everything's great. I had a really good job for a long time at the same company, and then I got remarried to my current husband back in '99, and he had a business. So I was working with him for a very long time. We have two more children, so four total. And it was actually during the pregnancy with my fourth child when I noticed something's not right. And my
Mm.
doctor at the time, and he's like, oh, basically, you're old. And I was like, yeah, 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 thanks, buddy. Got my diagnosis, but I hadn't spent all that time looking for a diagnosis. I just thought that I was tired and
Mm.
small kids and all that stuff. So like you said, just push it to the back burner until you can't. I was already a yoga teacher. I became a yoga teacher in 2015 because when I could no longer lift weights, yoga really spoke to me. I could go back to school, and I found the PTA program up here at Carroll Community College. I went through that. COVID hit, and there were no job prospects for what I thought I wanted to do. Introduced to fascial counterstrain. I took several classes, immediately recognized the value in that therapy.
Mm.
To practice on my own, I had to have my massage license. So I went back to school again and got my massage license. And during massage school, I'm like, well, this is just a license. I'm just doing this for the license. And then I was like, wow, I'm actually able to help people with these therapeutic massages. If somebody comes in with chronic pain. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do a little bit of counter strain, because that's going to give them the long-term benefits. And the therapeutic massage is going to make them feel better immediately.
Mm.
And it's a win-win. And they walk out going, hey, so if
Yeah.
they're happy, I'm happy. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, I do think the approach, no matter how you got to it, makes a lot of sense because when again, you're kind of treating, you're looking at the whole picture
Yes.
and not just a shoulder, a back, a hip, or
Yes.
whatever that is. And I think that
Yes.
that is beneficial. And you also talk a little bit on your website about diet. I think I have heard more things and seen more things on social about people changing up their diet and having extraordinary results.
Yes. That's the number one thing. If no one takes anything away from anything I say except this, there's no silver bullet. There are people that benefit extremely well from a vegetarian vegan diet. There are people that see pain reduction in the like a carnivore diet. I firmly believe that you have to figure out what your sensitivities are. And there are some ways of going about doing that. And then once you figure what doesn't fit in your diet, you're going to have to probably do without that for a long time, maybe forever.
Yeah.
But it's, our food isn't what it used to be. So part of what is wrong with you, someone who's having an issue with, and I'll just pick on gluten because why not? It's probably not the gluten because we've been eating gluten forever. That's how we've made bread. It's whatever is going on with the flour. Dairy is another huge offender. We can't digest lactose. I mean, we just can't.
Yeah.
But we drink it, and a lot of people don't have problems, but a lot of people do. And the issue is that we've, like I said, spoke to earlier, it isn't that it was bam, all of a sudden you couldn't, like a broken bone, like you referred. That's a perfect example. I've been doing this always,
Yeah.
and then now you can't.
Well, and the other thing is too, over the course of even our lifetime, as even in our 50s, everything has changed. All of these things
Yes.
have gradually shifted to where our bodies are finally like, "Hey, time out. You got to go back to something good." So, yeah, I
Yes.
think it's there's a culmination of so many things, environmental and food, but you got to start somewhere.
Right.
So, and like you said, it didn't happen all at once. It's going to take a long time to undo and
Yes.
unravel damages that have been done, or pain that's been caused, or whatever it is. So somebody can come to you. I
Hmm.
mean, obviously you can treat anybody, but certainly you, like, because of your own experience, if somebody has discovered that they already know that they may have an autoimmune, or is it just you start to work with people who randomly are just like, something's not right.
More the latter. When
Yeah.
they come in to see me, I'm rarely their first stop.
Right.
They're like, I've seen this doctor, and it's again similar to my story. They'll come in, we'll begin with a conversation. I'm trying to find out what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve, and then we go from there. We do a little bit of an evaluation because, again, right, they're coming to me for physical to feel better physically. I would say I can't speak for all of my clients, but the ones who have said to me they feel after a while it's not just their physical body that's feeling better, they're feeling better physically, emotionally, mentally. I'm not a mental health therapist, but you don't
Yeah.
have to be one. If you work on yourself,
Yeah.
you can't separate the two.
Right. Yeah, right. And certainly you start to, I'm sure, feel in control of this out of control thing that you've been asking all these people, something's not
Yes.
right. And you finally are starting to go, okay, well, at least I'm feeling better and
Right.
I'm in control. I kind of have some power back. Like, I think that that's a huge part of it.
Yes, feeling hopeless is
Yeah.
very damaging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, that would be awful. Yeah, that would be awful. And I'm sorry for all people who are just stuck in this vicious cycle of, only being prescribed medications, not looking at the whole picture, not looking at the whole
Right.
body. Like, it's very
Right.
frustrating. And you're right, it is kind of the way our health system is. But you have control, right? It may not
Yes.
be covered by insurance, but you can at
Yes.
least start to look for things that are going to
Exactly.
help you.
Well, and anyone who has FSA or HSA funds, Maryland last year passed a law, and I work under a massage license. So anything I do goes under that. If they have HSA and FSA funds, they can use it.
Oh,
They can file
nice.
for, or anyone who has out of network benefits.
Nice.
So I feel like, maybe we're taking little baby steps.
So if somebody wants to maybe see if there's something you might be able to do, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
My email is always a good way, Sharon at
Okay.
collectivewellness.us. And my website is collectivewellness.us. So sorry,
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
business address.
I think coming from somebody who's experienced the results positively of looking at these, I mean, I guess we have to call them alternative, but
Yeah.
holistic ways to feel better, working through everything from internal to external, I think is wonderful. And
Yeah.
we really wish you all the success. Really appreciate your time. I think this is fascinating, actually.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, Danny.